Worldly distractions. These are all the things that the devil uses to take your eyes off God. As he knows, once you take your eyes off God, when you take your focus off God, even just for a second, that's when you sin. That's when you fall. That's when, you become you do unrighteous things. So he uses these tactics, and he uses hundreds of different things, especially in this generation too. He can use anger, pride, lust, substances. He can use food. He can use, shows. He could use, stuff you're watching online, stuff you're watching on social media. I mean, he can use, likes, he could use you to, start posting just so you get those likes, get those comments, get that validation from the world and all, and maybe parties or something too. And he uses all these things just so he can take your focus off God. And once he does that, he already won. Is once you get your focus off God, just like Peter. When Peter walked out of that boat and he was walking to God, and while he was watching him, when he was looking at God, he's able to walk on that water just as God was, right? Just as Jesus was in that water during that storm, he was walking out. And then once he looked back at the storm, he looked back at the world, he looked back to the devil's deception and lies and distractions, he fell. He sunk in the water. Now, of course, this is where the graciousness of God comes in, is when we do fall, God is always there to bring us back up. Bring us back up and let us repent and change and, move on from these past, problems that we had or past sins we had. But the big point is when you take your eyes off God, no matter what it was from or for, you will sink. You will sink, you always will every time. There's no way just fighting it. You can't fight these sins. You can't, escape all these. You can't break these patterns alone. You need to do it through God. God is your focus. If you always focus on God, sins will, disappear on themselves. God is going to get rid of these sins and these temptations, right? It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, of course. No one's going to end up being perfect. Everyone's going to fall to some sin at one point again, but he will help you a lot with these sins. He'll show you he can break those sin patterns that you can't, or you haven't been able to break before. So keeping your eyes on God and just staying focused with God every single day, as much as you can every single day, is going to help you a lot when it comes to sins and it comes to distracted or deceived by the devil and the worldly things that he, uses to distract us. So remember that.